What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of 2 for 2, your sports podcast for the culture, by the voice of the culture. I'm your host, Keith, and I'm here as always with my brother Nell. We're back on the pod today, man. We got another episode for you guys, episode 75 of season 3. It's playoff time. We're still here. Nell, I see you pulled the Cowboys back out for today, man. What is significant about the Cowboys paraphernalia? Just putting it on today? Just want to wear the hat?
Yeah, it's the closest hat that I could find, and brother needs a haircut, so
I feel you there.
just that simple.
Hey, coaching change in Dallas coming. Do you have any early names that you would like to see now?
Call me crazy, but I'm buying in on the Deion hype. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but
okay,
I'm kind of coming around to the idea of if it did, I wouldn't be upset with it.
It would be a big move. It would be a very Jerry move. It'd be a money move. If nothing else, it injects life into the organization.
Box office move.
Yeah.
All the things Jerry loves. But most importantly, from my perspective, I think Deion might be the only coach that could come in and actually take control of the team in a way a coach usually controls the team. And, for the better part of 30, 40 years, people have talked about how, Jerry controls the team. He doesn't let the coach, really be a coach and do what he needs to do to, lead the team. And, that's been one of our issues, for the last 30 years, why we haven't reached a championship game since. So I think if Deion came in, he's one of the guys, they have a great relationship. I think he's the only one that I can see, being able to come in and do things his way and not have Jerry always meddling in and, overstepping him. So from that perspective, I would take Deion. But, I mean, I also wouldn't mind any of the Lions coordinators. They've done a great job there. It's pretty much the only options for me at the moment. But I'm just happy that Mike McCarthy is gone. It was time. One playoff win in 5 years is disgusting.
Yeah, the standard. Not the standard.
Need a complete culture change here in Dallas because got a bunch of losers up in that building. So
hey, we'll see. We'll monitor that one closely. Deion, he say he's happy in Boulder, but he said he was happy at Jackson State. So, people say you got to say what you got to say while you're employed still.
Right.
You can't say I'm ready to go and then walk into the building the next day. That's not.
Everyone's gonna look at you a little funny.
Yeah, it's not gonna go. But we'll see how that goes, man. I wish you guys luck. Unfortunately, we have to come on here today and, some wildcard games happened over the weekend. We saw, we saw my Buccaneers take a loss. No,
I was expecting to see you in your Bucks robe today.
Yeah, I'm sure you were.
It's Bucks been put jersey, away. Bucks hat. That's put away.
In storage, actually.
In storage, man. Well, we will see you in September.
It would have been beautiful. I told you, the road would have come out for Eagles week, but unfortunately, we couldn't get it done.
I told you I needed Baker. That was my only chance of not seeing the Eagles in the NFC Championship, and
I'm sorry
you folded on me.
We're
Baker
sorry.
Was not bacon.
He was okay. He couldn't. He wasn't. He barely got to play offense, man. It just Todd and his defense on the field for 9+ minutes. Even with us scoring pretty quickly and controlling the game, it just felt like we watched Jaden Daniels play football all night. Like I feel like I literally just watched Jaden Daniels play all night because he was on the field all night, going for it on fourth down, converting, giving up touchdowns on 4th and goal. The Bucs way, man. The Bucs way. But we also saw the Steelers take a defeat to the Ravens. The Broncos lost to the Bills. In a matchup that we both thought the Chargers would win against the Texans pulled it out. And, as you said, the Eagles, they took care of business against the Packers, man. So, end of the season for those teams, man. Let's start off with looking at these teams, man. My Buccaneers, from your perspective, what do you think is the biggest offseason need for, we'll do all of these teams, but we'll start off with my Bucs. I'm curious to hear what you have to say.
Well, I mean, your team better than I do, but defensively, like you said, they were on field the entire game pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So, got to address that defense, whether get a coverage linebacker, work on that secondary. I know you had some injuries in the secondary, but
Chase came out there.
wasn't really great even when that secondary was healthy. So, I mean, the offense was top 3, top 4, and that's even with Chris Godwin hurt. Found a gem in Bucky Irvin. So, I mean, Baker Mayfield put up back-to-back seasons. I don't think anyone's concerned, he's going to pull a Sam Darnold, but offense looks to be intact. So, keep adding on the defense, and maybe you'll get off the wild card next year.
Yeah, I would like this. I read that this would be the first offseason where the Buccaneers have ample cap space to make some moves. It's not. The thing is, traditionally, that's not how our organization is. We don't do a lot of splash signings. We're more of a, we draft and develop and, hope and do that. But I think it's come to the point where we've seen, especially, let's talk about the defensive secondary. We've kind of seen the end of that rope. We coming into the year, we chose Jamel Dean over Carlton Davis for the simple fact that Carlton Davis is always hurt. Sad part about it is Jamel Dean is also always hurt. You talked about injuries. Jamel Dean comes into the game, 2 knee injuries on 2 knees. You only have 2, so he has an injury on both knees. He gets one back. The other one's still banged up. We go out there. We need him. Biggest game of the season. His knee hurts, so he can't play. He's out. Insert special teams guy, Josh Hayes. Picked on primarily for the rest of my evening. I just think it's time that we address, the secondary problem. We got Antoine Winfield. He's a good player, right? Solid safety. Didn't have the year that he had last year. Also dealt with injuries, but it is what it is. You got the defensive line. You got Vita Vea. You got Kalijah Cansey. You brought back Shaq Barrett. I'd be curious to see if he brings Shaq Barrett back. Yaya Diaby came on strong. You got some decisions to make with Joe Tryon, but I'd love to see us bring in a legitimate edge rusher, right? Back to the secondary. Zion McCollum coming into the year, I wasn't too high on him. I made a mistake there. He played pretty decent. Overachieved, I think, this season. But, time and time again, the Buccaneers have an opportunity to either sign a corner or draft a solid corner. And we want to address, guys in the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round. Tyke Smith was a good defensive back we brought in this year, but he's more of a slot corner / safety. So I'd like to see us get a real outside guy, a true guy that can stop another team's number one. And I'd like to see us address edge rusher, get a perennial edge rusher. There's going to be guys out there on the market. You talked about pass coverage linebacker as well. Levante David might have played his last game as a Buccaneer. That's going to be a big loss as well. So, I mean, as you said, all signs point towards a defensive end. I want to see a defensive-heavy draft. I want to see a defensive-heavy offseason as far as free agency signings. They say we got the cap space for it. The only guy we really, really need to bring back and re-sign is Chris Godwin if we can get him. Coming off an injury, he might. The way the wide receiver market is, he's going to still command, big money regardless. Just looking at what the year he was putting together. But, if we can keep Liam Cohen, we can bring back Chris Godwin. Offense is set, like you said. We got the future in Bucky Irvin. Baker's more than solid. I think Mike Evans had, a hell of an end of the season, to come back from injury. He had a great game against Marshawn Lattimore again. So, yeah, it's all defense, man. It's got to be all defense. And I think, the Buccaneers can take that step. You have a defensive coach in Todd Bowles. You know how I feel about him. But let's go get some playmakers on defense so I don't have to watch, practice squad guys get called up week in and week out. 6th, 7th round draft picks. We relying on them to go in and win us games in the playoffs. Let's not do that anymore. That's what I like to see. I think we picked 19. Let's go do something. But there were other teams that lost. The Steelers. Our Steelers fan friends were sent into a frenzy after a disappointing loss. Where do you think they need to go this offseason? What's their biggest need?
There's a lot of ways they could go. You could argue maybe it's time for a new voice in the locker room with the head coach. You could argue they need a quarterback. That's obviously been the issue for a long time. And, Justin Fields and Russell Wilson both had their highs and lows this season.
They love Justin Fields. That's what they say.
That's what they say. And obviously, Russ didn't have the greatest end to the season. Wasn't as efficient as he was when he first started. But I think they need to. It's hard to just go out and just get a franchise quarterback. And the Steelers are always winning games in the playoff hunt, so they're never really going to have a high draft pick to get one of the elite quarterbacks in the draft. But I do think if they could run the ball, it would help them. It would help their team out a lot. Obviously, they could use another playmaker next to Pickens. Najee Harris hasn't been the greatest running back. His time is gone. Only averaging 4 yards a carry. That's just not going to get it done. Obviously, you can address the secondary, but I think defensively, that's kind of secondary to kind of their offensive struggles. So I think finding another playmaker on the outside next to Pickens and upgrading the running back room, I think should be the main points of emphasis for this team in the offseason.
Yeah, I think it's a complete offensive overhaul. I think it's past time. Teams like the Steelers, franchises like that are successful for so long. You mentioned having Mike Tomlin having that voice in the locker room for so long. We kind of seen the same thing on the NBA side with the Heat, right? It's when you have your team that's built on like a big culture, you have figureheads in place for the longest time. It's easy to kind of fall into the trap of this is the way we've always done it. We'll always be fine, right? And what you see is, the Steelers have been trying to put a Band-Aid on what has been a struggling offense for years now. It was Kenny Pickett at first. There's no secret. I mean, he's not very good. But, you replace that with Russ and Justin Fields, two guys that, where you have on the one side, Russ coming off a year with the Broncos. That wasn't a bad year, but it's like, is he really Russ anymore? You got Justin Fields where a whole franchise gave up on him. You're putting your stake in that. It's kind of, again, to me, it feels like, we just hoping and praying we can take, a low risk, high reward is what they were going for. But, with that, it just didn't move your ceiling. It didn't move your ceiling much at all. So, complete offensive overhaul. They tried to bring in Mike Williams via trade. They moved out Deontay Johnson. They thought that would kind of help with the wide receiver room. It didn't. And I see a new quarterback coming in. I like Jaylen Warren at running back, but, is he a running back one? Is he your guy, your bell cow? Probably not. The good news is there's a lot of really talented runners in this draft. There's a lot of really talented runners in the NFL, period. You can go find you a running back. I like what you said. Quarterback will be a lot harder. So I don't know. Do you just patch it up? Say we go get another running back. We go sign a stud at receiver, and we run it back with either Fields or Wilson and see what happens. I think both of them are free agents as well, so it'll be interesting. But it's definitely got to be offensive.
Justin Fields helps their run game out a lot too.
It does.
They were much better on the ground with him. Obviously, he adds a much different dimension with his legs and being able to scramble and calling QB runs for him, especially down in red zone. They were a much better red zone offense when he was down there because of the threat of his legs. So a lot of decisions for the Steelers this offseason.
Got to make a decision. We'll see, man. But if it doesn't get fixed, Mike Tomlin will be the next to go. And it's not even on a sense of I think he just needs to be fired, but sometimes you just need another voice in the locker room. Sometimes you just need, compare it to like Andy Reid. I talked about it with somebody, over the weekend. They're like, oh, Andy and Philly, it kind of just had to happen. I don't know if Andy Reid goes on and is still as successful as he is if that breakup doesn't happen when it happens. So, and it worked out for both. It worked out for the Chiefs, it worked out for the Eagles. So, it could be the same thing for the Steelers.
It'll be interesting too because I just found out this the other day. Steelers have never fired a head coach. I didn't know that.
Wow.
In their entire history, all the coaches either just retire and then bring on a new one.
Yeah,
they've never actually fired a head coach. So
they might trade him for a trade Tom and then get a quarterback and start over with somebody else. Who knows? We'll see.
Unlikely, but I mean, hey, there's probably a team out there that'll trade for Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, some stability. Great coach, great coach. What about the Broncos, though, man? We were extremely surprised by their season. You know, got to put that out there first for foremost. Sean Payton, Bo Nix was his guy. He said it all along. Took him to the playoffs. So, what do you think their biggest offseason need is?
Yeah, obviously a good start for, Bo Nix and that Denver team, especially, coming off of last season. You got all that money tied up to Russell Wilson. So, Sean Payton, did his thing with Bo Nix, and, he showed a lot of potential and flashes this season. The defense was pretty good this year. I think they were number 7 overall. So, a lot of good things to work with. Had a couple of nice young receivers, Mims, and nice compliment to Sutton, who had a pretty good year. They can upgrade that running back room. I think that'll, make Bo Nix even better. A lot of times he was their leading rusher in the playoff game against the Bills. Trying to think. I don't think their leading rusher had maybe like 500 yards.
Was it Jaleel McLaughlin, or was it? Do they still have Javonte Williams over there?
Yes, I think he was their leading rusher this year overall with 513 yards. So, and I think they were towards the bottom of the league in yards per carry. So, just taking a little bit of pressure off a young quarterback would go a long way. He's already shown that he can get you to the playoffs. So I think if they can actually develop a ground game and, not put so much pressure on him to, have to air it out, I think they could, do some nice things next season and, be a playoff team again.
Yeah, they're in a good spot, right? You shocked the world. You surprised everybody with what is going to be, honestly, this was your first year at his roster, right? Bare bones. You talk about Courtland Sutton, he's a dog. But outside of that, it was just other guys kind of stepping up here and there. We saw Troy Franklin score in the playoffs. But is he a guy? Marvin Mims had, showed some flashes. So I think overall, they really just need to continue to add offensive pieces all around across the board. The run game, like you said, was non-existent for the most part. The defense is solid, I think. You got Surtain over there. They play tough. And I think that they're just in a good spot to be able to add pieces anywhere, right? You get the best available player that you can at whatever position you need. You got a quarterback. You got a head coach. You've seen that you can make the playoffs with that and that alone. So you just keep adding. I would love to see them go after some of these offensive playmakers that are coming into this draft, especially at the wide receiver spot. I talked about the runners last, in the last thing about the Steelers. So they will have their pick. Sean Payton will get somebody. So I'm gonna just put this out there. Somebody I'm gonna monitor. I would monitor that activity on Alvin Kamara. Sean Payton, as he has no problem plucking guys from his old team. I think the Saints they're headed towards a full-on rebuild. Alvin, I'm just saying. Nobody said that yet now. So when it happens,
that'd be a good pickup.
When it happens. What about my Chargers, man? My boy Jim Harbaugh let us down. Herbo let us down. They got some things that they need, right? They got J.K. Dobbins came on strong this year, good at the running back position. Herbert's going to be your guy. Is it just you need to go get you a true wide receiver one, or you rocking with Ladd as a wide receiver one and you building elsewhere?
I'm rocking with Ladd, but definitely you need another offensive playmaker. Can never have too many. Yeah. And, Ladd had a great game. He had 196 yards, but, no one else came along for the party. And, Herbert, he looked rattled. That Texans secondary, got to give them a ton of credit, forcing all those turnovers. And, he had done such a great job throughout the regular season, not turning the ball over, only 3 interceptions on the year, had 4 in that playoff game. So that was rough for him. And, obviously the game plan going in was to take away the run. That's something that, we know Jim Harbaugh wants to run the ball. Once they took that away from him, it was tough to, find completions downfield. So, who was the receiver they drafted a couple years ago? Quentin Johnston out of TCU. he's very inconsistent, doesn't really give you much. Sometimes he can just disappear for games. So definitely need some more offensive playmakers. Got T. Higgins is a free agent. Chris Godwin. Some
Hey,
guys out. Just saying, just
hey,
throwing some names out there. Some guys out there that they can go out there and grab that would be great additions to a team that it was a rough exit, but defensively they were top 10 this year. Um, we know they're going to run the football. It was a rough game from Herbert, but look, all you can do when you've got a young quarterback like that, I don't even know if we can still call him young, but like when you've got a quarterback, you just got to try to do. I know he had a rough game with the 4 interceptions, but you just got to try to keep building around him and just try to stack the offense up as much as possible to where he doesn't have to be put in a position to throw 4 interceptions. So I would just say just try to get him another playmaker and see where you go from there.
yeah. Jim Harbaugh is going to build it up. They're, two big surprises in the Broncos and the Chargers. I don't think anybody was really, putting them in the playoffs, giving them a fighting chance. But both teams made it, and I think both just need some playmakers, man. We need playmakers across the board. What do you think about those Green Bay Packers? I got Jordan Love. Didn't do us a solid. And they had a good year though. Josh Jacobs came on, looks great. He if anybody played hard in that Eagles game, it was Josh Jacobs. So at this point, Packers they lost some weapons. They lost Watson before the game. I think didn't they lose? Was it Dobbs or Reed?
They lost Reed during the game.
During the
Dobbs, I
game.
think I heard the week before.
Yeah. So they're banged up, or they were banged up. But what do you think their biggest need is going into this offseason?
Yeah, I still think they could use a true number one. I understand. I like the receiver by committee. They've got a lot of nice young pieces, but there's still nobody that you can truly rely on game in, game out, third downs. Gotta have it. Anytime Christian Watson is being looked at as your best receiver, you've got an issue. Not to say that he wouldn't have helped out against the Eagles, but let's be honest, he probably wouldn't have. He has not looked like the same guy that had 8 touchdowns in like 6 games with Aaron Rodgers, in the second half of his last season. So I don't think he's that guy that you can build an offense around. So they've got to get a true number one. I mean, the rest of those guys are good. Like if they're the supporting cast at receiver, they've got some good pieces. Dobbs is good, Reed is good. I just don't think they're true number ones, because in these games against the top teams in the league, they're not getting those.
That production's not there.
Those deep balls and those crazy touchdowns that Jordan Love throws, where he's just slinging it down the field. Those big completions, explosive plays on play action. They're just not always there. Sometimes you just need a guy that can just get open against man coverage, just double teams. Like you just need one of those guys out there. And when they can't scheme those receivers open, you get games like Sunday against the Eagles.
Yeah, it looks bad. It makes your quarterback look really bad. You want to increase the longevity of your young guy.
He also just looked really bad too. So he's got to play better. I know he was a little banged up coming into it, but that's not the same guy that walked into Dallas and put up 48. So
he did something that game. I think he looked off the check down, starts scrambling, and last second throws it to the check down halfway across the field. It was the nastiest play. I was like, just throw it to the check down first. If you gonna, my God, he had a rough go. But get him a receiver, man. Just not one of mine. I think it's a common theme amongst these teams outside of my Bucks. Everybody need offense. I'm just saying. But
a lot of teams rode the defense to the playoffs this year.
They did, and they came back to bite them.
Once you go against these stacked teams that play both sides of the ball, you see what it takes to really be amongst the elite.
Yeah, for sure. But let's look ahead, man. Those Commanders, They got the Lions. How you feeling about this one? Let's see. Do they have a shot, or is this Cinderella run over?
I think it's over. I didn't expect them to be here. I can't lie. Um, but yeah, I think the Lions at home, I think they'll be ready. Dan Campbell's gonna have his team ready to go. That offense has been clicking all year. I don't think it'll stop now. There's, with all the injuries on defense, there's always a little bit of worry there. Jaden Daniels, was solid in his first playoff start. But, I think the buck stops here. He had no pun intended. I think he had a great rookie year. But Lions will win this one. And I think it'll be about double digits.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Hats off to the Commanders. No hate at all. They took care of business. I was on here. I've said it every time. Me and Nell, we were more me, but we were high on the
I was
Commanders.
up there. I was up there, yo. Stop it, yo.
You were up there. I said me and Nell. I said more me. You ain't believe. You was a Cowboy fan. You weren't trying to really give him that credit. We didn't expect him to be here. But the Lions are just too much. They're my favorite out of the NFC. I think they're your favorite out of the NFC. Am I right?
We'll see.
I mean, Monty coming back. You got Sonic and Knuckles back. And we know how that Commanders' run defense is. So, it could get ugly. I also like the Lions by double digits. Let's go Detroit. What else we got? We got the Eagles, right? Taking on the Rams. Matt Stafford. I think I saw something crazy before we hopped on here. He's like 14-3 or something in December, in like December, January, February, or something weird since he's joined the Rams. They knocked off the Vikings. Can they do it again? Can they take down the Eagles? Do the Eagles really, really want to play Matt Stafford and the Rams coming into the league?
I mean, this is the Rams for the last couple of years, since their Super Bowl, is always the team that we come into the season saying, well, look, they got Stafford, they got McVay, they got Kupp. Last couple of years they had Aaron Donald. So you were like, the talent's there if they could just stay healthy and put it all together. The problem was they were never healthy. And then you start out this season, they weren't healthy. Same thing. Puka Nacua missed a bunch of time. Didn't Stafford miss games? Or Stafford
I think
missed
he
games.
missed a couple.
Kupp was missing games, but once they all got together, defense got some experience as a young defense. Once they started putting that together, they started balling. And it's always when you got two elite receivers like that and a quarterback that can, really get hot and sling it around, it's scary come postseason time. But I don't think they're physical enough to hang with the Eagles in the trenches. And I think that's what the game will come down to. I don't think you'll see 9 sacks against the Eagles.
Are you worried about the Eagles' offense, though?
A little bit, but not against the Rams. Like I said, I don't think they'll get 9 sacks. I don't think they'll get 5 sacks against the Eagles. I don't think Saquon was going to get, nearly 300 yards rushing, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets 150. I don't think they'll contain him to the extent to where we have to worry about the Eagles' struggles in the passing game. I think they'll dominate both sides of the line that much to where even if Jalen has another game like in the passing game like he did against the Packers, I don't think it'll be too much of a struggle. Now, obviously, I'm hoping for different. I'm hoping that Stafford and Puka and Kupp can get hot and they can just win a shootout. But I don't think that'll happen. I think the Eagles are too physical up front. And yeah, you win in the trenches, and more times than not, you'll win the game. As long as Jalen doesn't do anything to lose them the game, he's not throwing interceptions, turning the ball over. I see no reason why Saquon won't, run this team to victory. Hard to beat a team twice. I think it'll be a lot closer than their November or December meeting. I don't remember when they played, but I think it'll be a lot closer than 37-20. But I still have the Eagles coming out on top in this one.
I'm skeptical. because of what you said about how the Rams can get hot. The Eagles' pass offense has been unique for much of the season, honestly. I mean, but, we can just say, let's just say Jalen didn't play. He hadn't played for a couple weeks, right? Get his feet wet, come back out there. I love the Rams, young guys on defense, Byron Young, Lord, my boy Kobe Turner. They got Fisk. What's my guy? Jared Verse. They got some guys, and I think it'll be interesting. But that's why the Eagles have the offensive line they had, right? Probably one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, if not the best. And I agree with you. I think they'll be able to run the ball, control the clock. I think they'll get to Matt Stafford a good amount of times to kind of throw them off balance. It'll be a fun game, though. I definitely think it'll be close. I'm gonna say I believe the Eagles will win, but I would not be surprised if Matt Stafford and those boys go out there and put on the show and come out with a victory. That's all I'll say. It won't be as easy as some of our Eagles pundits seem to have thought coming into this. I don't know if you saw that in the group chat over the weekend, but he knows who he is.
I try not
on
to
the
pay
AFC side.
any
They've
Eagles
been
fans
looking. They've
any
been looking
mind.
for you. They've been looking for you, man.
I see.
They've been looking for you. They've been looking for you. Nell is fine, everybody. Just
They gonna
watch the
keep
pod.
looking.
Yeah, he right here. He right here. Just watch. You want to see Nell? He right
Hey,
here.
man.
Like he good.
I got nothing
But
to say about sports this year.
it's okay. Philly, Knicks Philly tomorrow.
Not looking forward to it.
My team stinks, so it's fine. AFC side, Texans Chiefs, man. CJ Stroud and the boys, they pulled it out last week, like we said earlier. Kansas City has essentially been off for 3 weeks, 4 weeks? When the last time they played? The starters, at least.
Christmas?
Do you think that'll haunt them in this game against the Texans, or business as usual for the Grim Reaper?
Business as usual for the Grim Reaper, but because of the long layoff, I do see this being a close game coming down to, a couple possessions in the fourth quarter. That defense for Houston raised some eyebrows. That secondary play,
Stingley's hooping.
he was very much hooping. He was locking it down. Don't throw around him because there's a chance it might go the other way. So I mean, defense played great. They were able to get a lot of pressure. We talked about the offensive line for the Chiefs, especially the left side. So I mean, if they can get some pressure on him, and we talked about the lack of weapons for Mahomes over the course of the year, and how that offense, isn't nearly as explosive as it was, in their early days with Tyreek Hill and all those other guys they had. And Kelsey looks just a hair slower than we're accustomed to seeing. So for that reason, I can see this being a close game, but I still think Mahomes and the crew, they pull it out at the end. I don't trust Houston's offense to get it done, although, Stroud made some great plays, and they, started picking it up towards the end of that second quarter. And in the second half, it, still was the defense that led the way that game. They were having a mid-off, the entire first half up until that broken play where, Stroud had fumbled the snap and then scrambled and, hit that 30-yard completion. So I think, offensively, they still got some issues. They dealing with a bunch of injuries with Diggs and Tank Dell being out. Joe Mixon is going to have to, have a huge game if they're going to have a chance to, controlling the clock and winning this game. But I still think Mahomes and, Andy Reid and Kelsey and those guys, it's playoff time. They're used to this. They're battle tested. They're at home, number one seed situation they've been in a bunch of times at this point. Anytime this, the road goes through Arrowhead, more times than not, pretty much every time it's going to end with them in the Super Bowl. Unless he's playing Tom Brady, which he doesn't have to worry about that anymore. So, I'm going to take the Chiefs in a close one.
I'm also going to take the Chiefs. I don't think it'll be particularly close. Playoff time. I think Pat well rested. The ankle's good. Kelsey, he'll be ready. D-Hop, he'll come out to play. I think the extra rest time will be helpful for them with Pacheco as well. If we remember, he came back off injury. And Steve Spagnuolo, man, he's going to dial it up. I think CJ Stroud's going to be a a little in over his head, especially without having real weapons outside of Nico Collins. Like you said, Joe Mixon's going to have to really, really ball out. But, that Chiefs defense, they're known for, getting after the quarterback, making it dicey. And I think they'll go ahead and they'll make quick work of the Texans, unfortunately. I didn't see them getting through the Chargers. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that after that I think that they're going to do anything with the Kansas City Chiefs. It's all how it is. But we got the game of the year. This is what you've been waiting for.
Game of the year.
This is what you've been waiting for.
It's a banger
This is what
incoming.
we've been waiting for. This Nell script said this had to happen. I tried to sprinkle in a little bad juju and hope maybe the Broncos could pull it off. They go down and score that first touchdown. I'm like, oh, shucks. I'm going to have to text Nell and say, your boy did it again. But no. Order restored. Josh Allen handled business. Now, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens come to town. Now, this is why you signed Derrick Henry. This is what you're talking about. Two guys battling out for the MVP for a shot to go to the AFC Championship. Ravens, Bills. I need a score prediction for this one.
I am torn.
I need a score prediction for this one.
I am torn on this game.
I'm not. I know who I'm rocking with.
I know who you rocking with.
You know who we rocking with. My real team is playing now. Here we go.
But see, as an unbiased fan of football, not rooting for anyone in this situation.
Right.
I mean, at the end of the day, this is all I'm going to say. Josh, they got you as an underdog at home.
For a reason.
In your crib in a playoff game.
Reason.
What you going to do, Josh? What you going to do? They've been talking crap about you. They saying you ain't the MVP.
No.
They saying you ain't this, you ain't that. You ain't ready to win a Super Bowl. You can't do it without Diggs. What you going to do, Josh? What you going to do? He embarrassed you. Lamar Jackson embarrassed you week 4, week 5, early in the season. He caught you slipping. He did. And it's all right. Because that get back is going to be real. MVP Josh.
You sound extremely unbiased right now.
I'm talking to Josh right now. I ain't talking to you. I'm talking to Josh. What are you going to do?
Okay.
You don't let them come into your house, take your plate, and walk into the AFC Championship game. Nah.
Walk in your trap and take over your trap.
This is your time, Josh. This is your time.
Walk in your trap and take over your trap.
They already crowning him the 3-time MVP. But it's your time. It's your time.
MV3. Easy. Light work. Where your score prediction? You just talking to Josh. You going to do all that just to pick the Ravens. I know how you do. You think he's slick. Try to deflect. Go ahead. Run with your boys. They've been your boys all year.
With all that being said, the way the Ravens look running the football, they've got to slow down.
Too.
They've got to slow. Not like that man. Not like that man. And then with the quarterback out there juking and spinning and
did you see the
getting
Derrick Henry
past everyone?
Wildcat?
That's just another element that they got to deal with. It's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be a great game. I'm hoping it's nothing like the regular season game where it was over by halftime. I'm going with Josh.
Yes.
27-24.
That was inspiring. I should give Lamar a speech, but he doesn't need one.
This should be the AFC Championship.
It should be. It would be nice. But
build Mahomes and Josh in the AFC Championship. I like that too.
2 white quarterbacks. My pad is black. That's what they say. I'm rocking with Lamar. I'm rocking with the flock. I think Zay Flowers should be back. I think it's going to be about as ugly as it was last time.
Okay. You see how they talking about you, Josh?
31-21 Ravens. 31-21 Ravens. I like it. In Buffalo, too. What day is that game? Sunday?
No.
Doesn't matter. I'm off Monday and I'm off Friday. So here we are. What's up? We outside for that. Ravens, easy. So it looks like
easy.
We got. I'm
Keep
telling
that
you,
same energy.
I'm telling
Keep
you,
that same energy.
I'm telling you. Yeah. Lamar about to have a master class. He gonna show y'all why the other guy shouldn't even be in the
I
combo.
don't usually buy other teams' jerseys, but you're gonna make me buy a Josh Allen jersey.
Get you one. Get you one. It'll never see a championship either.
I'm
Come
gonna
on,
have
put
it.
in-
I'm gonna have his number, and it's just gonna say White Jameis on the back.
That's what you're gonna look like on Sunday. Let me see what
Remember
day
you
is
said
this.
that. Remember
Let
you
me
said that.
let me make sure I get my days right.
Don't matter which day it is.
They do. It's going if it's on a Sunday. You know,
Superman will be there.
they gonna need some snow. They're gonna
They
need
don't
some
need
snow
snow.
out there. They're gonna need some snow.
Don't
What
matter
is
if it's
it?
snow, rain, sunny, cold.
Sunday at 6:32. You'll be up.
Oh yeah,
You'll
locked
be
in.
up.
Locked in.
Oh wow, that's back to back. So they got Rams Eagles at 3, right in the Ravens Bills at 6:30.
That's a double header, boy.
Okay.
That's the perfect double header. Kick my feet up. I ain't going nowhere.
Hey, Baltimore -1. Yeah, we're gonna see. That's gonna
Disrespect
be
is crazy.
that's a 2-for-2 pick'em for the week, man. He got the Bills. I got the Ravens. Speaking of our pick'em, would you like to announce that you officially lost this time?
You said we going throughout the whole playoffs.
Oh, now you
Those were
remember
your
I said
words.
that.
Those were your
Okay,
words. Those were your
look,
words.
I just want to make sure you remember I said that.
If I
was
lose
testing you.
this one, it's over.
It's
Pretty
a wrap
much.
for you. Okay, that's
Pretty
all.
much.
Look, I said that's all.
But I ain't. Josh got me.
We're gonna see. In Lamar we trust, man. But that was fun. Unlike the wild card round, that was not fun for me. But we're excited. You know, now I can just be an unbiased football fan like Nell. I can enjoy my Sundays again. Hey, we are also not unbiased. I can enjoy my Sundays again until September. It's been a
Technically,
fun
I am
ride.
unbiased because this was like one of my preseason picks.
Didn't I pick the Ravens to go to the Super Bowl this year?
No,
Who'd I pick? Chiefs.
probably because you'd be scared.
I was listening back to some of our old things from our previews. I had some heat. I ain't gonna lie to you. I said the Bucs run game was fixed. It was fixed. I got more heat, but I don't feel like talking about it right now.
That's probably the only heat you had.
No, it's not. I'll send you the clips. Don't worry. But yeah, man, that's gonna do it for us, man, on this episode of 2 for 2. It's season 3, episode 75. We had to talk about the wild card divisional round. Will be fun, action packed. You'll see Action Jackson running all over the field on Sunday night. Make sure you tune in. If y'all got y'all predictions, man, drop them on the Instagram page. Drop them in the YouTube comment. Drop them wherever you want to drop them, or you can just continue to text me and Nell all the time, like y'all like to do sometimes, and just talk trash that way. But as always, we appreciate y'all rocking with us. Keep showing love on Spotify, podcast, on Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. TikTok might be gone soon, but it doesn't matter. We'll see. As always, that's going to do it for me and Nell. 2 for 2. We love y'all. We out.